Hello, everyone. Welcome to Self Love You. How am I doing this year? 2020, welcome. This is another video for you guys. I promised you that I would be doing a lot of videos in January, and here I am making good on my word. I think it's really important to keep your word. And so here I am doing that. Okay, today's video is called Stop Idolizing the Narcissist. And I call it that because so many people are interested in narcissist abuse recovery. But really, I'm talking about with anyone. Stop idolizing people, period. And put people in the category that they belong in rather than on a pedestal. Okay, I'm going to go deep on this video. Okay, you know I am. What I'm going to talk about is idolization. Those of you know that I had an encounter with a narcissist. It was a surprise encounter. I'm an expert in this topic, and someone slipped in and got through my defenses. And in this process, I have learned so much, and I've already been learning for years about this. It takes years to grow. It takes years to learn. And I've been learning about this process for years, and this just really nailed it for me to help me really understand where my weaknesses are. And in this particular case, I was prone to idolizing this particular narcissist. And I think that this happens with many people who are recovering from codependency and recovering from narcissist abuse and recovering from maybe some childhood trauma, different things of that nature. The reason is that the idolization phase is a part of childhood development, and it starts in childhood, okay? When you're a little kid, you idolize your parents. And I've studied this extensively from many child development scholars that the child will idolize its parents. The child cannot see the parent doing anything bad, wrong, hurtful, harmful, anything that the parent is unable to do for the child, any needs that the parent is unable to meet. The child will automatically take the blame for that, and toxic shame will come in where the unmet needs are. Now, the parent does not have to mean to do this on purpose. Can be subconscious. Maybe they didn't get their needs met, but the child must 100%, because of the brain, because of the way the brain is not mature, the child must idolize the parents. The child sees the parents as gods, and the child is less than, and the parent is God. And that is what helps the child's brain to grow and properly develop. If the child does not finish very important milestones along the way in its development due to the incapacity of the parent, due to abuse, trauma, death in the family, divorce, parents that are, messed up themselves, then the child will not come out of that phase. Emotionally, the child will stay at that age because you have to finish milestones to get to the next milestone, So I'm saying all of that to say that what happens is when you do not finish your appropriate milestones, you could grow up and be an adult who inappropriately idolizes other people. When you do this may make you very susceptible to narcissist abuse. So what you have to do is understand where you are programmed in a way that would cause you to be susceptible to narcissist abuse, but also learn to help yourself to grow up, to heal your inner child through healing work, but also through cognitive work where you're rethinking how things are working. And that's what we're doing when I'm saying not idolizing people. Stop idolizing the narcissist. Because what happens is when you don't finish those childhood development stages, those milestones, then you grow up and you're in an adult body, but you're attaching in ways that are childlike if you did not get on to the next milestone. So it is childlike to idolize other people. It is not it's not it's not a mature mentality or emotional existence to idolize other people. Healthy people who did get their needs met or who have healed from trauma or not getting their needs met when they were young. Healthy people are able to see other people realistically and not put them on a pedestal. And they're also able to see when other people are baiting them to idolization, and they just kind of, it's not interesting to them. I also find it interesting that people that are not narcissist bait, that are not narcissistically abused, they don't understand what the heck I'm talking about. So a lot of therapists roll their eyes when you talk about narcissist abuse. It's because they're not prey. They don't understand because they've never been there. So they say, oh, don't talk bad about a certain type of person. You know, they don't get it. They don't understand that there are literal people out there that are emotional vampires and will take advantage of you and leave you in a very hurt situation if you let them. So I'm not one of those people. I know exactly what it is, and it hurts. So one of the ways that narcissist abuse occurs and is allowed, and there's a doorway into your psyche, into your ability, into your attachment ability, is through idolization. And idolization is a childlike mental state of looking up to others and putting yourself as less than. And we can idolize all sorts of things. We can idolize being in a relationship, and we can idolize the narcissist. We can idolize people that we respect. It's one thing to respect someone, to like their information, to respect them. But it's another thing to idolize them, worship them, obsess over them. That is what I'm talking about, is a childlike state of idolization of the narcissist or the person you're in a relationship with. And I think that that's part of what happens in the love bombing phase, is that they bait you into this dynamic where you begin, they mirror you and mimic you and copy you and get your attention. And then when they get your attention, you start to kick in your idolization. And then they slowly start to pull away their approval and validation. And they become like a construct of your own psyche, but they're external. So they're your external validation. So you've got an external locus of control. And so that happens through idolization. I think idolization is a trance. I think that that's that anesthesia, that it's the trance. It's where you're like, take me to your leader, whatever you want, I am nothing, you are everything, help. No, I mean, you're just all open to abuse and devaluation, and you're in big trouble when you idolize. So it's very important that you tear down vain imaginations. That's a Bible verse. Casting down vain imaginations and anything that would exalt itself against the knowledge of God. Well, you are somebody, and there's nobody better than you. And you have to stand in your power, because idolization, idolizing your lover, idolizing another man, idolizing another woman is going to be giving your power away. And you cannot afford to do that. You just cannot, because it will cause you pain in the long run. So idolization is a couple of things. I've written this down. It puts you in a trance. It's giving up your power. It's the child mode. It's a fantasy bond. It's a fantasy mode. So Firestone talks about the fantasy bond, which is actually codependency. So if you want to read about the fantasy bond, look up Firestone and really get into that. It can get really deep. But it's very interesting because when a child's needs are not appropriately met in childhood, they create a fantasy parent. And for me, I created a fantasy world that I lived in because I had an abusive parent. And so I created a whole entire fantasy land. And it fit right in with the fairy tales of the day of being a young child. You listen, you watch the fairy tales, you see the fairy tales, the princess, the Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, the prince always comes and saves the day. Well, the fantasy bond is carried on into adulthood. And so when you're idolizing someone, you're not in reality. You're actually in a land of fantasy. And I know that the narcissist creates illusions, so you're buying in to the narcissist's illusions, the narcissist creating with lies. So you're buying into the lies. When you're buying into the lies, you're idolizing. Ooh, interesting, idolizing. You don't spell it like that, but think about it. You don't idolize. I don't lies. No, I don't know. Okay, think about that. That's a good one. Okay. You're devaluing yourself when you're idolizing someone else. You're devaluing yourself and you're putting someone else higher than you. You're projecting your good qualities onto the other person. See, if you didn't go through the proper development cycle as a child, when you are an adult, you have a tendency to project all of your good onto someone else. Just like the narcissist is devaluing, you're overvaluing the narcissist, okay? So there's two to tango in this game. It's not just a bad narcissist. It's also a dysfunctional me. If I allow this in, it's dysfunctional for you if you allow this in. And it's important to see the truth so that you're not sitting here talking bad about the narcissist all day and forgetting that you are important too, and you have a part to play, and you can help yourself. You cannot help anyone else. It's good to recognize abuse, but it's also good to recognize why we allow it and why we have a repetition compulsion to continue to allow this to happen over and over again. Well, part of it is because we need to help that inner child in us to grow up and to stop idolizing other people. What's a good way to start doing that? Well, the first thing is to have awareness in the moment, okay, in the present moment. So having mindfulness of who you are, where you are, what's going down, what your thoughts are, what your self-talk is, how you're feeling about this other person, and where you're putting them on the totem pole of your life. Are you idolizing them and giving them too much of your goodie? Well, it's time to stop doing that. Idolization causes us to have to prove ourselves to this third party that we put up on a pedestal, and we're projecting our good onto them, and we're not seeing our own good, but we're only seeing their good. What this does is it creates what I call a fugue state. I don't know. I've read all about it. It's probably not psychologically correct, but I believe that it puts you in a little box, and you have tunnel vision, like childlike thinking, magical thinking. And when you're in an idolization state, a trance state, when you're under this anesthesia of the narcissist, okay, when you are in the freeze mode, you have walls around you. What we have to do is we have to break down those walls and integrate this child part with the adult, with the wise mind, with the higher self, so that we can look at people more realistically and stop putting them on a pedestal before ever. They don't go on a pedestal. They need to go into reality and be like, hey, yeah, you're good looking. That's nice. So what's for dinner? So am I. What's your problem? Okay. So you have to break the walls. You have to integrate this child part that is still attaching and is still relating as if a child with a parent and is idolizing another person. You have to break down those walls through awareness and through meditation, mindfulness, spiritual practice, journaling, talking to a counselor, and all of that. Whenever you get into this state of idolization, you're going to ignore red flags. So we've got to get you out of that. You don't want to be in a trance like this. Okay? Take me to your leader. Because that's not a good way to be. You devalue yourself. It blocks your judgment. You're thinking like a child when you're idolizing someone else. You're trying to prove yourself to an idolized object, but you're the one who has your hand on the dial. You're the one who's giving that person the power. You're the one in control. You get to choose who you idolize. And it's more important to give your value to yourself and to really take it for yourself and see in reality how things are going down. Does this make sense, y'all? I hope it makes sense. That's really all I have to say. I think I got it all out. Woohoo! Another video for the books. I hope y'all like this. Please like, comment, share. Tell me your thoughts on this idolization. Stop idolizing the narcissist. Talk to you soon.